Hello and welcome to the 12 Months Marathon Podcast with me, John Hill, the running podcast for the over 35s with Marathon Dreams. Episode 104. I'm joined by a very special guest today. I'm joined by Tom Campbell. Hello, Tom. How are you?
Hello, John. It is nice to finally be here. I think we've had this idea to sit down and talk about running for, gosh, I want to say 6 months, maybe
It's been a
even more
while.
than
Yeah,
that.
it's been a while. Well, I'll give the background, and that will put it into context in terms of how we first came to meet each other. So I'll give a little bit of background on Tom, but I'll let Tom tell his story. So Tom is an award-winning presenter, ring announcer, and MC who has been, I think, quite vocal about his running journey. The reason why I wanted to talk to Tom is, well, there's a couple of reasons. So firstly, Tom, I sort of I sort of fanboyed out or marked out as language which Tom will know from. I did the Great North Run, as some of you will know, last year as I record this September 25. Brilliant. I mean, I've talked about it openly. Brilliant event, amazing, massive. Atmosphere was unreal. You know, running past Joe Wicks and Dame Kelly Holmes on the run was just insane. And then I, of course, posted about it, and Tom liked one of my posts. I think maybe even commented on it. And I know Tom because I am a wrestling fan. I have been a wrestling fan since the late 80s, and after a brief break in my youth. And Tom does a bit of work with a YouTube channel that I used to follow. So it was like I thought it was a little bit of destiny. And then I looked into obviously a little bit, started following Tom, and saw that he had this running journey going on. So I thought, oh, that's ironic. So I thought it'd be very, very good for me to talk to Tom and find out a little bit about Tom, because I think Tom started running, quote unquote, again, or rediscovering running in sort of middle age, around the sort of age that of the people that I work with. So if it's okay, Tom, I just want to find out a little bit more about you. So if anybody doesn't know you, who is Tom Campbell?
It's a great question. Well, first of all, running was never my thing. We grew up in the same county, you and I.
We did. As we
worked
just
different
found out,
walks of
yeah.
life, but it's only when I moved here that I really felt that I could and can run. It was, in my 20s, in my 30s, arguably when my body is far more preferred to run, I had no interest in running. I barely had any interest in fitness, and it's weird that it got me into my 40s. But in the journey to get here, I'm, as you say, like yourself, a wrestling fan since I was, since I was just not long after I was born. Mid 80s was of a golden era of wrestling fandom for me. And what happened is that through working at Cultaholic and through moving to the Northeast, where there is a really strong wrestling scene in the north of England, I've been able to carve out a career of doing that and radio as well. It was radio that brought me up to the Northeast, first of all, where I went to work for Heart as their drive time host.
Yeah.
And it was while I was here that I got to know the guys from Cultaholic Wrestling, and an opportunity presented itself that I could go work for them full time, and I did. And since then, I've really thrown myself into pro wrestling, ring announcing and commentating and emceeing in general. It's so funny how I turned 40 back in 2023. 2024. I've given myself an extra year. Hang on. I turned 40 a couple of years ago, and my wife will say this. I kind of had this weird, and I think a lot of us go through. I think you must have gone through it, John. This sort of weird energy about turning 40. And you go, well, that's it now. This is it now. It's all younger people doing the jobs I want to do and the things I want to do. I should change. I was going on Pinterest and going, how does a 40-year-old man dress? Like, I was having a proper crisis about it. And then midnight ticked and I turned 40 and nothing changed. So that was reassuring. And I went, well, then let's just carry on as we're going until we're told not to. And it just so happens that sort of professionally, I've had just this really exciting resurgence in my 40s. I feel like I'm more deeply entrenched in pro wrestling in my 40s than I was doing announcing and stuff in my 30s and a little bit in my 20s. And you then kind of go, well, what else can we do? It was lockdown though when I started running.
Right.
I get no desire to run. I just never thought it was my thing. When I moved to the Northeast, I had people go, "Oh, you should do the Great North Run," and I kind of laughed the whole idea off of doing the Great North Run. Nah, I can't do the Great North Run. Don't be stupid. And then, obviously, when the world shut down, we were all looking for something to anchor ourselves with. I was lucky in that with the YouTube stuff, we turned the room that I'm talking to you now, which is normally the guest room, we turned it into an office.
Yeah.
We went, well, we're not going to get any guests for a while.
Yeah.
So it became sort of Cultaholic Site B. And my big issue when working from home was that differentiating work life and home life, because a lot of it sometimes when it comes to doing wrestling stuff, a lot of stuff happens through the night and you're on American time for a lot of bits as well. Opportunity comes up to chat to somebody in the industry, and normally they're in American on EST. So I struggled a lot of time with work and life balance, and then all the more so when lockdown happened and the office was literally like 10 steps away from my bed. And I think it was my wife that bought me a whiteboard to stick on the door of the guest room, which is now the office, which was then the office. And I put my working hours on there. So just to kind of have a visual representation of when I would come and go. So therefore I needed something when that clock struck end of my day at 3 p.m. I needed something to break that up. And it was normally going for a walk. We leave the house, go for a walk. Then when I come back in, I am in home time mode. And that became trying out for a run. I got the Couch to 5K app.
Yeah.
And I just built my tolerance up doing Couch to 5K. I realized how much I enjoyed running once I got into it. Once I got there, once I started, once those first couple of weeks dropped off. And I realized actually there's a lot about running that I enjoyed, and that was where I started doing it more often. And that was when I went, you know what, I'm going to do the Great North Run. The decision for me to do the Great North Run finally, sorry if I'm jumping all over, that was the big one for me. That was because it was the first time I did the Great North Run was the year I got married. Right. And I said I was conscious about my weight and I was conscious about my health the year I was getting married. And
what year was that, Tom? Sorry,
that was 2024.
24, okay.
Yeah. So I just thought I could set myself a goal to be in shape by my wedding, and that's what I want to do. But I'm also going to set myself a goal to be in shape for the Great North Run, because if I'm not in shape, and it sounds really, it sounds a bit cruel, but if I'm not in shape for my wedding, I'm still getting married, and by the grace of God, one of the most amazing women I've ever met will still love me. But if I'm not in shape for the Great North Run, I'm buggered. I've got to be in shape for that, because no one's gonna politely. I mean, I could have walked it, but my mission was to run it, and I did, and I hit it, and I did, and then the following year I did it again, and I did it faster, and since then I've had this on-off relationship with running. And I'll mention this, and then I'll shut up for a minute. I do genuinely want to say thank you to you, John. Massively thank you to you, because you approached me at the start of the year and you talked about me coming on this podcast, and I had a bit of an epiphany with it, because I hadn't been running after the last year's Great North Run. My running just fell off. Yeah. And when you don't do something for a while, you just you get in your head about it. You build it, and I'm terrible with that. I get in my head about it, and I went, I can't do it. I haven't done it in so long. So when you messaged me, I went, I think I even said to you, I said, I don't think I can come on your brilliant podcast, because you've had some great guests on here that talk about their running, and I feel like a fraud because I haven't run for months. It just wouldn't feel right, and bless you. You were, and I said like, what advice can you give me to get back into this again? And you gave me some wonderful advice and words of encouragement, and it began with me walking more and walking longer distances, and then it's got me back into running again. Yeah, and it was only just a couple of weeks ago when I did the Great North 10K. Yeah, I got to the end of that, and I went, do you know what? I've got the bug back. This is nice. Good. And I messaged my family to tell them I was alive, and then I messaged you and said, "Let's do it. Now's the time to do it."
Good Good man, I appreciate that. Well, you're welcome first and foremost. And I mean, to be fair, not I won't go off on a tangent myself here. I think a lot of the listeners will actually resonate with this. What you've experienced is very common, especially when you do a big event. Like if you do a big event, half marathon, marathon, like especially a big one, there is, and I've had this myself, there is like a lull. It is like you're on this high, and then almost like there's this void, and it's like, now what? And it's perfectly normal, and you see it a lot. So it's very common. It's like, yeah, so it's excusable, I suppose. It's easy for anybody to say, "Oh, just set another goal and do something else." But it's life's not like that, you know. It's like sometimes you get involved in other stuff, and next thing you know, it's 6 months later, and it
And all that
happens.
time has gone away, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't even know if I can still do this.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but what's amazing is, and you found this yourself, and other people that have been on have found this yourself. You tell yourself, oh, I can't do it, and the moment you get out and do it, there's that little bit of trepidation, but then you go in and you go, actually, I can. I actually
yeah,
can do it. It's like riding a bike, but the bike is your legs, and you go,
yeah.
I still can do it.
Absolutely. Were you quick question? Were you sporty growing up at all, Tom?
No,
No.
no, absolutely not. I would, when it was sports day at our school, I would do javelin, right?
Okay.
So, no, sorry. I do discus, wrong. I do
Okay. Yeah.
discus. The only reason I did discus is because it was the first event of the day.
Right.
And it meant I could just go in there, perform badly at discus, and then I've got the rest of the day sat on the field, like chatting to my mates. Like I was not sporty at all, and I wasn't even. It was and it was one of them where I was quite overweight as a kid anyway, and
Right.
I think I've always been a bit overweight, and it's and you kind of resign yourself to go, well, that's not for me. That's not for me. It was honestly, it was that I became a runner in my 40s, and I think that I'd like to think that is something that a lot of people that you've had on could resonate to, because
Absolutely. Yeah.
something about like when you watch kids when you're a bit bigger in school as well, and there's like a shame with it, as you know, that maybe even if people aren't making comments about you, you're aware of how you look and how you feel in your skin with what you're wearing, and wearing PE kit when you're a big lad is it's uncomfortable, and you feel very self-conscious when everybody is, there's kids in your class who are much, thinner and slicker and faster, and also at a time where you're sort of discovering, people that you fancy of whatever gender, and all of a sudden you're like, I just look like I have been poured into white socks and white shirt and white shorts, and I hate this. So you do whatever you could to avoid it, but then in doing so, you never really get out of that bubble of being a bit overweight because you weren't working out at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I used to get picked last at school, so I can certainly resonate with that one. I thought about that the other day, it randomly came up. So what was your relationship with like fitness in general before running came back into your life over the last sort of 20 years, like post school to when you started again?
I think in the extent of my fitness is walking. I do a lot of walking.
Okay.
Like, I think that's the one exercise I have consistently done because I don't drive.
Yeah.
I've always relied on walking when the public transport lets me down, and I quite liked the solitude of going for long walks. Like I walk to work and back at the moment. It's about 25 minutes there, 25 minutes back, and there's if I do cover work at BBC Radio Newcastle, I'll walk in. That's about a 45-minute walk, and I quite like those walks. So I genuinely think that, and I've said this in joke. I've said this jokingly. I think the fact that I don't drive and has kept me on the right side of morbid obesity, because my diet has never been like the best. It's okay at the moment due to like recent sort of discoveries in food intolerance and stuff. I know I feel like I've got better, but like it's never been a great diet. But I think by the fact that I'll eat badly, but I will walk like a lot every day.
Yeah.
It helps. When I saw that the NHS were going to start offering vouchers to people who walk for half an hour a day, I'd be like a rapper, like in music videos,
making it rain with you.
Vouchers.
Yeah. Just make sure. Hopefully there won't be Greg's vouchers, but
I did wonder whether they'd be Greg's vouchers actually,
especially in Newcastle.
Oh God, no! There's loads. There's one Greg's for every one man, boy, and child.
Yeah. So Tom, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche because I think a lot of people listening to this will potentially have started doing more because lockdown. There's a wonderful thing in lockdown. I think, and I'm in the fitness industry, so I saw both sides of it. I think people either went one way or the other. They tended to either get really into their fitness or go completely the other way because their fitness or their method of fitness, like a gym, was taken away from them. So to avoid the cliche, what was it? Was there a defining moment in lockdown for you that said, right, I need to do something physically now?
Okay, I think it was obviously sort of when I finally got the work life balance with going for walks after work. That was one of them.
Yeah.
There was another defining moment when it was more sort of driven by weight loss,
Okay.
whereby my wife had recorded me while I slept the one night, and she played it back to me, and not in like a in an intervention type way. It was more just like, oh my god, look, this is what you were doing last night, and she played it. And John, it really upset me.
Right.
It
Okay.
really upset. I sounded like I was dying every 30 seconds. And she has said, like, there's a few times where like I hear you draw breath, but then you don't, you don't exhale again. It's just, and I went, oh God, that's bad. That's bad. I can't lie next to my wife and her wonder whether this breath is gonna be my last.
Yeah.
So I should do something here. And running became kind of the next step up from. I thought, well, I do like walking. Let's go running. Let's do running. And that was what led to me downloading the Couch to 5K app. And I've had a few people who have been in similar situations to me, and they've messaged and they've said, look, how do I get to where you are? You're going out and running and stuff like that. How do I get there? And I must sound like I work for Couch to 5K. I don't, but it's just, I swear to God, as an app for getting you started. It's the BBC one I had, and I had Joe Wiley as the voice that was talking me around.
Oh, nice.
Which is it's so funny because my wife did the Great North Run a few years ago as well, and she got the Couch to 5K app to sort of build up her running tolerance too. And it's so funny how different we are as people that run. We couldn't be more opposite, and there's in a couple of ways. And one of them, because I had Joe Wiley, who was a bit like irreverent and a bit chatty, and she had one of the guy on there who was like a former Marine drill instructor. And it was just like, I need someone who knows their shit to tell me how I'm getting around. And I was like, I just quite like Joe Wiley telling me. Yeah. But there's Sarah Millican on there, who is the most irreverent of them all. But it's just, but that app really helped me. I remember the first time I ran for like 12 minutes consistently, I felt like I'd run a marathon. Yeah. Mentally, I felt like I'd run a marathon. I was like, I've just ran nonstop for 12 minutes. I have never done that. Like, it felt amazing. And then it's lovely to think and go back and tell that younger version of myself, oh, get this, right? You'll run for 2.5 hours nonstop as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the fastest of runs, but it's a run. Under the Trade Description Act, what I do during the Great North Run is a run.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
I was going to ask Tom actually about that in terms of Couch 5K, because I'm the same. I always recommend, when people are starting out, I always say, it's great because it gives you the opportunity to get better, and it works on the marginal gains. So it's like, every win is a win, and it should be classed as that. And I think it's really, really good for beginners. So what did that, and obviously I know this from being overweight and like 20 years ago when I started my journey, how difficult that first few weeks can be. So what was that like for you, especially with running? Because I say to people a lot about running. Running is very exposing. Because like if you go to the gym, you can lift weights and stuff and go up the corner, but running's quite exposing because you go red faced or out of breath, and it can be quite. And obviously you're wearing stuff that is perhaps not as baggy as you perhaps would wear, like whatever. So it can be quite an exposing thing to do. So how did you find that first couple of weeks of getting into the habit?
Well, I was very conscious of that, and I got around it by instead of like finishing my day and then going for a run. Yeah, I would get up at like 4:30, 4:45 in the morning and go for a run when no one was around. Okay. And that was because I like you say, it's you do feel quite conscious of it, and there's still a few times when I go out running and I still feel that less than I used to. My plan is to go for a run when we finish here today, which is something when I started my journey I would not have fathomed doing, because there was also a part of me where I went, if I get up early, go in and get it done, then it's done. Yeah. And I can then, because I feel like there was points where, and there have been points where if I put it off for too long, then I make all the excuses in the world. And then I get to 4 o'clock and I haven't done anything. So if I get up early and go and do it, then whatever happens for the rest of the day is a bonus. But I've gone and done that. But that was initially born out of that anxiety of showing yourself up in public. I'll go out when nobody is around.
Yeah.
And hopefully and then hope nobody. But then what happens is you do that, and the people that are around are runners too. And
at that time of the morning, usually, or they're doing something else.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah, there's a few car parks around here where that could be the case.
Yeah.
But when you don't, so when you leave them to it because they're busy. But with the runners, there's like a solidarity to it, and that's something I noticed in those first couple of weeks, where you'd see sometimes the same people, and you'd never chat. Because I don't chat when I'm running. That's not my vibe. But you nod or you give a thumbs up, and that was it. And that helped. I think that really helped me come out of my shell a little bit, to the point where like I can now go for a run like in the middle of the afternoon if I feel the urge to, or if I haven't found time in the morning to do it, I'll nip out and go for one afterwards.
And how have you? You mentioned weight loss. I think a lot of people. Funny enough, my last week's podcast was on this, because I get a lot of people start with me or ask me questions, and I've been in the weight loss fitness game, including my own journey, for like 21 years. So how have you found, because I think some people, I've got to phrase this right, because some people think it's obvious. They think you run more, lose weight, and it's not always like that, because obviously running invokes hunger and it creates different battles for people. So how have you found those two linked in terms of your weight? Has it helped you to keep your weight down? What's been your sort of experiences there?
It's fluctuated over the last couple of years. I did Slimming World for a few years alongside running. And
okay.
I felt that Slimming World was the only way, the proven methods that I kept weight going down.
Yeah.
And at the best at Slimming World, I lost 3.5 stone. But then inevitably, when you come away from that system and you don't completely go all in on that system, that weight creeps back on. And I've been in these situations where I've yo-yoed for a few years, and I thought the only way I'm going to get this right is if I can do it of my own speed, if I can do it without like knowingly denying me all the stuff that I normally like, and keeping when I do notice, and friends notice, that when I'm in a consistent running pattern, that I look different. A lot of it comes down to how I feel, which is like I had because I've lost in the last month and a half, 2 months, I've lost a stone because I did a food intolerance test, and I realized that all these really nice things that I eat on the regular, my body doesn't like me eating them. And I went, okay. So like I was allergic to bread, intolerant to bread, to eggs, to wheat, and to yeast. And obviously I like a beer, and that'll never change. But it's funny because I had a weight loss app that was telling me, hey, on the days where you have boiled egg at breakfast, you have less calories. I'm like, yeah, because I feel like garbage. That's why.
Yeah.
So I go, okay, well that tracks inside. So I've gone gluten free in the last month and a half, and I've lost a stone.
Brilliant.
Because I'm not eating this and I've got another, and then I've got this calorie tracking app thing, which is, I just need it to be dead simple. I can't do like macros and all this. I can't. And more power to you if you can, and more power to the wonderful pro wrestlers who have tried to teach me macros and wait. And I appreciate it, and I know you've tried, and I appreciate it. But crap, I literally need a little graphic that says you had a beef burger from this place. Tap there. That's dinner. That's this many calories. You have this many calories left. And it's and then like also I think, because I'm a little bit of like I'm a bit of a man child with a lot of stuff. Like I'm very much still into like video games and stuff like that. I need the experience to be somewhat gamified. I like wearing a Fitbit because I get a little buzz when I hit 10,000 steps and little fireworks go off on the screen.
Yeah.
I like having this one fitness app that whereby if I do go for a run, then I log it in the app, and it discounts calories from my overall. So I go, oh, I got some more today, which in itself creates, as you rightly said, its own battles. But I felt more in control my diet side of things, and I'm still being quote unquote naughty, and that's a whole other discussion. I'm still like having things that I want to have, but
Yeah.
I'm cautious as to how I order them and what I have with them, so I don't feel like I'm denying myself anything. But in doing that, I'm feeling more confident. And then I did a wrestling show on Saturday, and I felt great. Like I felt lighter. I was down a couple of pounds from the previous week. I went and did the show, and I felt good. And I could feel like I was moving better, and I was sounding better, and I felt good in it. And then I saw a couple of photos from it. I go, I look as fat as ever. What's that about? You just go, well, it was. Well, that says it all, doesn't it? It was nothing to do with like with what it is. It's how I feel, and I just felt that way, and then that reflected in it. And I feel like when I go for a run, I feel better after. The before and some of the during is a bit of a fight, but the after is always absolutely worth it.
Well, I mean, that's ironic because that was my next line of questioning, Tom. So, what you and actually, I'll just quickly say something just as a recommendation. So, there's Tim Ferriss who wrote a book called The 4 Hour Work Week. Also wrote a book called The 4 Hour Body, and The 4 Hour Body is a very good book about health. It goes a bit all over the place, and some of the stuff's quite head scratching, but it's interesting. And one of the principles he mentions in there is the ability to gamify. He says if you make it a game, we respond better to that because human beings are incentive based creatures. So if you gamify something, it's you're more likely to enjoy the experience versus I'm on a diet, I've got to count my calories, I've got to yeah. So actually one of the principles is to make it a game and make it a challenge. So there's something definitely in that. So you've been quite open about mental health, Tom. You've talked about this a lot. So from your own point of view, obviously moving away from sort of cliches and things like that, how do you think running has genuinely helped you in that respect?
I know some people are sort of social runners. I am a solo runner. I've been invited to join running groups, and when I do the Great North Run, normally people go, "Oh, I'll run with you," and you could be like, even my wife would, "Oh, run." I'm like, no, I need to. It just, for me, it's all about that headspace. And there are some days where I need to go for a run, not for my body, but for my head. I need, like, if there's lots going on, like at the moment we're in the middle of a move and there's lots of things to think about in that kind of process on top of your normal working days and all of that stuff. And then and other things that pop up as well, like going through my calendar for the next 2 months, and it's just, there's so much. I'm blessed. I'm so blessed because I've never been busier as an MC and a ring announcer. Like, this is the busiest I've ever known, and I'm so blessed with that. But I'm also thinking all about that as that is going on as well, and I need that headspace sometimes, even just for like half an hour, even just for whatever, just so I can like come away, bring my energy down, and then I'm able to be a better, I need to be better at whatever I need to be then. So for me, a lot of it is mental. I think I've never come back. There's a few times where I feel like I've had a bad run, and early on, more than anything, when I started out running, I feel like I come back and go, I had a bad run, and I'd be annoyed with myself. And it took me a while to go, well, that's not what this is about. A bad run is still better than not running at all. And you have to really fight to figure that out. And I don't really get that. I don't really feel like I have bad runs anymore. I feel like I either have a great run or I have a run, but it's always a run. If nothing else, it's a run. And I've inevitably come back and feel ready. If I go first thing in the morning as well, I feel like if I get back, if I've done like half an hour, 45 minutes of running, and I'm coming back through the door and like the sun's coming up, then I'm ready for the day then. Like I feel like I've had that little headspace, bit of clarity, and I'm buzzing to get started on what today is. But there's also been some days where we've had like a lot going on. If you know, we've had like a lot of visitors over, or if I've had a busy day at work, that's when a run has that means of going, right, as opposed to getting me ready for the day, this is going to be a run that's going to bring me down now, or wind me down for the day. This is where this is like the breakwater. We've had all this stuff going on, and I've just got, I need to just to disappear and go and run and come back. And then inevitably I'm better. Like my wife always says, like, you know, you can only fill other people's cups if your cup is full. And a run really helps me mentally fill my cup, you know?
So an interesting debate or question, and I've had this a few times with people I've interviewed on here, is like, so like there's this concept that running is therapy, and some people say no, 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 running's not therapy. Therapy's therapy. What do you think about that?
I don't think it's a replacement for therapy because
Yeah.
I've also had therapy.
Okay.
I don't think it's a replacement for that at all
Yeah.
because I know whilst running really helps clear my head, running isn't going to deal with my imposter syndrome. Running is not going to deal with my guilt complex. Running is not going to deal with my anxiety issues.
Yeah.
It will certainly help, and it's a healthy way. It's funny because we watch a lot of shows like My 600 Pound Life
Yeah.
on TLC, right? It's great.
Yeah.
And but the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people get into these awful situations on that program is because eating for them is the only thing that sort of helps clear their heads, helps them find some
Yeah.
peace. And
Yeah.
I'm looking, and whilst obviously, don't get me wrong, going through that, like if there were no consequences, there'd be some days where I go, do you want to go for an half an hour run, or do you want to order at McDonald's? I mean, some days that's the one. But it's, I feel that they do that. They you have these people that will order these like mammoth amounts of pizza for the same reasons that I'm going for a run at 5:30 in the morning. It's
Absolutely.
just to give them a bit of that mental peace, but it absolutely doesn't fix like the issues fundamentally that
No.
cause
No.
them. I don't. So yeah, I will never say that running is therapy. I will certainly say that running helps towards that, but nothing quite beats therapy like a cheeky bit of therapy, as I tend to
No.
call it, a cheeky bit of therapy.
I think one of the an expression that I've used is that running doesn't solve your problems; it just gives you better ones.
Oh,
Um,
nice. That's a good shout. That's a good
and
shout, actually.
and I think being healthy or anything like that, it's never going to take away life's problems. It just sort of gives you better ones. So, in terms of your therapy journey, because you've mentioned it, what do you think makes people not want to go to therapy, even if they are fit, even if they are a runner? Because I'll just caveat that because I've been in the fitness industry a long time, and I've met people who you'd look at on Instagram and go, or wherever, and go, they are fit as a fiddle, but actually you talk to them and they're struggling as much as any other person. And obviously you're in an industry yourself where people are in fantastic shape, but again, that still doesn't mean they are, you know, they have it all together mentally, as well. I'll use that expression.
Yeah.
So what do you think scares people about getting help, Tom?
I think we're of the same sort of generation where you would go to therapy if there was something like really mentally wrong with you.
Really bad, yeah.
Like you wouldn't go. Like I remember telling some friends and some family members that I'd had therapy, and I just sort of dropped it into conversation. They were like, "Are you okay?" Like, no, I'm fine now. I'm great. Like and
Yeah.
it's there's almost like I think people worry that it reflects badly on them that
Hmm.
they need to. Certainly, like people like there would be family members that might see it as almost like not, they would see it as they'd done something wrong. Like family would see it as like, well, why do you need therapy? What did we do? It's like, no, it's not. No, you've done wonderfully. It's just this is something that I need. There is something about it that is different to everything else. My wife has taught me to talk, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. In the it means that you are more at peace with, you're more open with what you're feeling, and you're not pushing it down. Because again, going to therapy, I think still has a stigma of it being something that you only do if you've really got problems. Like I know people, like there's people who go to therapy for far bigger issues they've had in their lives than I have. But you can't compare. You can't go, well, I best not go to therapy because I know somebody who was abused for 30 years and they need it more than I do. Well,
Mm.
no, I'm not taking anything away from them by me
Mm.
booking a therapist to try and figure out why is it I feel guilty about nothing? Why is it I don't feel like I'm ever worthy enough? Like that doesn't take away from their experience, doesn't lessen it, doesn't greaten it, but
Mm.
it feels like it's something that is reserved for people who really need it. It would be like calling out the fire brigade for calling out the fire brigade if you set some twigs on fire in your garden. Like, you don't need that. Like, but I think that I'm glad that this conversation has changed in my lifetime, because especially in the north of England, the majority of there's been a rise in cases of suicide in men of my age.
Still the leading cause of death, men 21 to 49, I think, in the UK.
Yeah, and there's been a rise up here as well in it, and across the country.
Yeah.
And that is because it's a whole generation of people who were, from the stiff upper lip mentality, keep calm and carry on. Like, amazing. Like, I'm blessed to have a brilliant dad who has led the way. To almost a way where you go, I'll never be good. I'll never be as good as my dad. I'll never be as powerful a figure as my dad was, and you feel bad at that because if I sat here and thought about all the stuff that my dad had done when he was my age, I wouldn't be able to cope with it if I didn't have therapy, because it's different. It's a different time. It's a different era with different people.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but I think, and I'm not alone. I think there's a whole, that's the big issue with a lot of men at my age, where we reach this point and you've never been given the tools, and that's, again, nothing to do with anything. There's anyone that has necessarily done anything wrong to you.
Yeah,
you've just not been given the tools to deal with what you feel later in life.
Yeah,
and I'm devastated that so many men of our age think there's only one way to get around it, because almost the idea, the fact that there are some who go, it's easier for me to just to leave than to ask for help.
Yeah,
that's what it is. And I'm not hopefully not making light of people who've been through situations like that, because God, I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. But that's because we haven't had the tools of this certain generation.
Yeah.
How lovely it is, John, to see, people I know in their 20s and in their 30s who are having these conversations all the time, who are being more open about how they feel, who are making chatting to therapists as normal as going to the shop.
Yeah,
it's wonderful, and it makes me feel so glad for the next generation that come through.
Yeah,
that is a more normalized conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. I'll shout out Andy's Man Club if you've come across that online.
Yes, definitely.
I've seen them pop up, and also Standing Tall Foundation, which is Andy Reid, who I interviewed on this podcast, who was the first triple amputee to do the London Marathon. And he set up Standing Tall Foundation, which helped people with that as well. So yeah, those are two definite ones to shout out. And the third one I'll shout out is go and do a massive running event. Because I tell you what, if you want to restore your faith in humanity, go and do a big running event, because you see some people there and it's just, I get the old shiver down the spine whenever
I did the Great North 10K the other week, and I'd booked it quite late. I wasn't planning to do it. I had an event that got cancelled.
I saw your number actually, where you painted your name on
it.
Yeah,
I just wrote my name on it. It was that late. So I didn't plan to do it, and then I suddenly had the Sunday free, and I saw the road signs closed the next Sunday for Great North 10K, and I went, I should just do it. Because I've just got to get on with it. And I did. And I signed up, and I did I think they recommend you don't run extensively in the week leading up to it. And I did. I did 10K. I walked it and I jogged 10K before the Sunday. Yeah. I thought I'm going if I've done it this week, then I'll do it now.
Yeah.
And I set off, and immediately as I set off, and normally this happens when I start running, like immediately the little gremlins come in and they go, "What are you doing? This is silly. Let's not bother. Let's leave this." Like there's like a last pull of those bad intentions just to stop you altogether. And I thought, I can't do it. And then as I was heading off, there was a lad who was running to the right, and his name's Joseph, and Joseph was doing his for the very first time. And he was giving it socks. You end up there's footage of Joseph on the Great North Facebook page. He was the guy that finished. He was the last one to get across the finish line on the Great North 10K.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw him. Yeah,
I met him. I met him on the way around twice. Once as I was leaving, and another because there's a few points on the 10K where you go past one way. There's like a cross section where going up as they're carrying down. So I saw him twice. And I wasn't feeling myself, and I saw Joseph, and as I went past, I went, "Come on, Joseph, let's go!" And it was weird. And he gave us a thumbs up. He was like, "Oh, cheers, mate." And I saw him again later on. It was something about like just saying like, "Joseph's here. Joseph's a fucking hero. Joseph's doing it. I'm off. Let's go." And it was that and it's the Great North Run. There's no half marathon or even say marathon like it. I put it up against any of those running events in the country. I think it's the best one in the world. Not just for like the route, which is really lovely from Newcastle to South Shields, but the atmosphere. Everybody comes out for it. All the roads are closed, and everybody spends their day. If they're not on the run, they're at the roadside holding up signs, handing out sweets. Around about the 10th mile, there's normally a local brewery handing out
the free beer. I saw the free beer. Yeah, I remember the free beer.
Yeah, free beer on the way around. And it just there is nothing. It is such an emotional. I don't think I've crossed the finish line without getting teary after every time I've done it, because there's such a magic during the Great North Run. I'm devastated that I've had to defer my place to next year for this one. I never thought I'd say that. I never thought I'd be the person that'd be upset that they can't do it for a year, because the work opportunities come up and I don't want to miss it. And I've gone, do you know what? I want to go and do it. I will. This doesn't stop my running journey. I can continue to do that, and the Great North Run is always going to be there. So I'm going to miss it this year, but I've got a couple of friends who are doing it for the first time, and I was sat with them the other night, and we were just waxing. I was waxing lyrical, going, "Oh my God, you're going to see this, you're going to do this, you've got to see this," and I thought, how lovely to have that on your doorstep. And it's if you're a runner and you've not done the Great North Run yet, then I will warn you. If you are doing it for the first time this year and you are a runner and you listen to the podcast, it's going to ruin every run you ever have ever again, because it is the best one.
Yeah, I mean, I did it. I was lucky to do it last year for a very good charity here, Birmingham Children's Hospital, Tom, which I'm sure you know. And it was, like I said, like you've never seen so many people condensed in all your life. And I've done London Marathon twice, and when I did Paris Marathon, there was like 50,000. But this was just different level. It was just the amount of people. I got a bit teary at the end, and like I said, I mean, it's a silly little thing, but it's just like running down South Shields coast, the seafront, and then someone goes, "Kelly," and I look around, there's Dame Kelly Holmes, and I'm running next to Dame Kelly Holmes at the end. I mean, it's this, based on the fact that, when I was 28, I couldn't, I was out of breath tying my shoelaces up, and now I'm running next to like Dame Kelly Holmes down the straight. I was like, yeah, this is all right. I'll take this. This is okay. This isn't too bad. We'll take this. I also passed Joe Wicks as well, and Tommy Fury. I thought the girls were screaming at me, but no, it was actually Tommy Fury who was just behind me. I was like,
they were screaming at you, John. They were screaming at you.
I remember saying these girls. I was like, these girls at these signs. I remember going, "He's back there. He's back there." But he's coming. Don't worry, he's coming. So Tom, what in terms of sort of running identity? So a lot of people who maybe start running late or have got this perception of running that running's for thin, athletic types of people. Have you ever had an identity crisis about thinking that you weren't a runner? And if you have, how did you conquer that?
Oh, I mean, most times I step out the door.
Okay.
It's got better. It's got better because you just get on with it. I think because you always perceive runners to look a certain way, even when you're a runner yourself and you don't look a certain way. You always perceive them to be that way. But at the end of the day, if you are out wearing trainers and you are running, then you are a runner. That's it. It's easy to compare yourself to like the super athletes that do it. And there was a point where there was a point where I remember I filmed a bit of me running for a video, and I remember thinking I'm gonna give it socks. I'm gonna run past the camera. And I looked the footage back. I was like, is this in slow motion? I can't quite tell. So there's bits like that where you suddenly go, oh, I don't, maybe this isn't for me. But then all I can say is to not let those little voices win, because they will pop into my head inevitably when I start a run. Like I said, when I started the Great North 10K, it was just, you know what, you can just duck out of this now, it's fine. And I didn't, and we did it, and it was good. And I inevitably know when I go for a run after this, as I start, those little voices will go, you won't do it. But that is why I run solo, and I have to have headphones in. There has to be music. There has to be. Again, this kind of leans into my identity a bit. There has to be music. There has to be, if not some kind of audio podcast or audio drama or something like that. Just something that takes me away from I used to think it was taking me away from what I'm doing, but really it's just quietening that voice that's telling me to stop doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I think truthfully that's what it is.
Yeah.
As I sit and talk to you now, John, I think it's more a case of I listen to stuff because if I were just to have nothing and then just hear myself huffing and puffing and hear the pavement going and then hear cars, it would just completely take me out. So I need something that's just gonna, allow me to lock in. And I've got a nice playlist of stuff that allows me to do that. And I've even got some radio comedies and stuff that I keep in the event of the music's not doing it, just something that I can listen to and focus on, and just let autopilot do it for a bit until mentally I'm back in the game. So if you are struggling with that little bit of identity, I'd recommend trying out new stuff in a playlist, mixing up the songs a little bit, trying something a little bit different. But never doubt the fact that you are a runner. If you're wearing trainers and you are running, you are a runner. That is the fundamental thing.
Well, if people follow me, they've probably heard me say this before. If you haven't, I'll say I think everything needs context. So when people say I'm a slow runner, well, compared to who? I'm a fast runner compared to who? Because compared to Sebastian Soare, we're all slow runners who did the you know what I mean? Everybody's slow compared to this geezer. So it's like, well, he's, we're all slow compared to him, or this, whatever. I think I heard the other day the marathon world record in the 80 plus categories, 4:08.
Okay.
So we're all slow compared to whoever did that. So I think, it always needs context. And secondly, you've got to start somewhere. And everybody has to start. And I'll give you a couple of cliches and metaphors which will help it stick. Number one, it's the start that always stops people. Firstly, it's the start that always stops people. It's that first, and that's the hardest step out the front door. And once you're out, if it's a walk, run, but none of that matters, because that's how we all start. And to get better at something, you have to do it.
There's some mornings where I'll know that's going to creep into the night before. I put my running kit not on the bed. Not on on the chair in the kitchen. No. I put it by the front door. Yeah. I put my trainers, my socks, my shorts, my shirt by the front door, and literally my alarm goes off. And without thinking about it, I roll out of bed. I go to the front door. I put the clothes on and I leave. And my record was I was from opening my eyes to being out of the front door, I think was like 47 seconds.
Nice.
So apologies, my breath will stink if it's a morning one, because sometimes if I give myself even like the tiniest of time to contemplate whether I'm doing it, I ain't doing it. So we're just gonna go. We're going now.
Yeah. Another good book called Switch, about coaching, about human behavior, that says that the pro level is sleeping in your running clothes.
So you can I thought of that.
So you just get out. That's it. You've got you're already ready to go. So there was a alarm clock that apparently would go on wheels when it went off. So you physically had to get out of bed to turn it off. So
nice.
So that made you wake up. So yeah, human beings, don't trust yourself, folks. Building the strategies to get your backside out. Last couple of few things for me, Tom. How would you say has running given you confidence in other areas of your life, would you say? Has it translated across?
I think it's helped because it's proof that if I put my mind to something, I can do it, even at this age, especially when you're starting out something new or you don't feel like you've got the faith in yourself to do it. Like anybody in my line of work will be familiar with, through themselves or other people, the imposter syndrome. And the fact that you don't feel like you're worthy of doing what you do, because any minute now somebody proper is going to come along and do it. And I feel like with taking on the running thing, I've been able to go, well, this was something I was a non-starter at, and now I've done half marathons. Now I can jump out and do a 10K, and it's proof positive that even in my 40s I can pick up something new and do it to a great skill, to a great ability. And therefore in terms of like my general health, it's helped me immensely as well, because you expend a lot of energy when you're hosting a show, ring announcing. I often do a thing with some of the bigger with some companies I work for, that you'll get to the ring and then you'll start bouncing around the ring, getting the crowd going, and I feel like because my overall health is better, my breathing is better, I can do stuff like that better as well. And and also when I've gone for a run, it puts me in a better frame of mind, and it means that I can take on stuff with a better mindset that day. If I'm out first thing in the morning, if I get up early and I've put the clothes by the door and I've gone out and I've gone for a run, if I've gone out for a run for like an hour in the morning, I'm unstoppable for the rest of the day. So look out, because I'm in the best frame of mind that I could possibly be.
Yeah.
I've gone and done something like that very early on. So it does all trickle down, even if what you do is office based. Like even like it's the way you don't, you're not going to use the skills of running when you're sending an email. It's just more about mindset. And if you go, well, I did that this morning, so everything else is a bonus. Everything else here is going to be a doddle. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. And so final couple of questions for me. The first one, which we've touched on briefly, but we'll go into a bit of detail. So somebody's listening to this, similar situation to you, perhaps late 30s, early 40s, maybe thinking about starting a running journey, maybe looking to build confidence, maybe does have a bit of imposter syndrome, maybe looking to lose a bit of weight, maybe has some mental health challenges. What would you say to them, Tom?
Okay. And I've had these conversations before. I've had people inbox me before and ask me. And I always say the same thing. I send them to the Couch to 5K app.
Yeah.
Repeat it because it's honest. I said, look, download this app. Start there. It's that first week. It's so low impact. And even then, when you start, it still feels like a lot. Run for 60 seconds, walk for 3 minutes, run for 60 seconds. And when that first time I did it, I went, oh, this is what am I thinking? This is daft. I'm not going to do this. And then you do it again the following day, the day after the next, and then again the day after the next, and the next day, next time, the next week, you mix it up. I think it's like 3 minutes of running, 3 minutes of walking. So they ease you into it. Now, there are probably other Couch to 5K apps. I use the BBC Couch to 5K app. That's just the one that got me around, and it's the simplest. You can put your music on, and you can, and then you still get instructions throughout, which really helps me. Just like little reminders of how far you've moved and where you're going, like how much time is left. Little tips on you'll get little tips on how to run. There's things I learned on that app that I didn't know as a runner, like about stuff you don't think about, because you don't think about how you tense your body when you're running, and it often reminds you, relax your shoulders. I was like, okay, I didn't think about that. Relax my shoulders. It was on there as well. And John, I don't know whether this is you're an incredibly accomplished runner, so you might speak to this a little bit as well. It talked about having a stitch and obviously drinking water to help get around a stitch. And I can't remember if it was on the app or if I read it somewhere else, but it seems to work. If you get a stitch while you're running, let me see if I can remember how you do this. So if you suck in your stomach whilst exhaling and then breathe out whilst hang on. Breathe in, push your tummy out. Breathe out, pull your tummy in. Do that 3 or 4 times. And I've done that, and I've gone, actually, I don't know whether it's like a mindset thing, but it has helped with the stitch.
I'm a big fan of the placebo effect, me, Tom. So if you believe, seriously,
that means it doesn't work.
The answer is I don't. The official answer is I don't know.
Okay.
But the actual answer is if you do something, and even if you just believe it works, so it does work, that's all that matters.
Okay, that's fine.
As long as it gets the job done, because I think, just quick tangent from me here, and I have this a lot when I'm coaching people. Human beings, we love certainty. We love a definite answer. We love, it has to be this way, or shall I run at this pace or this pace or this pace? Find out.
Yeah.
Because it's that curiosity that why I'm talking to Tom today, because Tom was curious during lockdown. Can I run? Can I become a runner? Can I start running? Can I run a 5K? Can I run a half marathon? So Tom got curious. I got curious 20 years ago when I first started losing weight and said, can I change my perception of myself? And here we are 20 years later. So it's about being curious. So as long as you believe something works, that's all that matters for me.
Okay, that's fine then.
Right. So my final question, Tom, my philosophical question, which I ask everybody on this podcast, is how has this whole experience changed you?
How has it changed me? How has running changed me? I think without sounding like too much of a broken record, I think it's helped me get over the weirdness in my 40s more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of the creeping on of middle age, and then being able to comfortably say, because the work stuff I've done for decades, and yeah, but the running was something that came along in my 40s, and I think it's fair to say that it's something that categorically I did not have the mindset to do in my 20s or my 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it has given me the reassurance away from running that when you get to 40s, you've still only just begun. And there is, if it's something that you can't do now or something that you don't feel like you can do now, like taking up running, of course you can. You apply yourself and you put your mind to it. There's certainly not the end of things. I love speaking to people who I went to school with who go, oh, I can't do, I wish I could do running. And I tell them, well, this is going to upset you, but I started running in like my 40s. And then suddenly you run out of excuses to do it. Like, so I think it's given me the comfort to go, if there's stuff I want to throw myself into, if I apply myself to it, then I could absolutely do it. And in work, in life, in anything. And the reason that I now don't just think, but I categorically know I can, is because I took up running.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So what's next for you, Tom?
I'm going to go for a run after this.
Okay, brilliant.
I feel like, it depends when is this, when are people hearing our lovely conversation?
They'll be hearing this round about the 15th, 16th, 17th of July.
Okay. So end of this week. So I'm a pro wrestler, as well as working for Cultaholic Wrestling on the YouTube, where I live every day. I'm a pro wrestling ring announcer. You can join me for wrestling shows in Braintree on Saturday, in Cardiff on Sunday. I'm then in Newcastle the following Saturday. I'm in London the Sunday after, and it's all that part of my life has shot up like the running. And I've just thrown myself into that. In terms of what's next for running, as I say, can't do the Great North Run this year, which I'm gutted about. So I am looking and I am open for options for runs to take on in the northeast of England. And if you would like to suggest any, then please do. If you do invite me to your park run event, I'd be very happy to be there. Please don't be offended if I don't talk to you whilst we go around, because I won't.
Did you do some mic work for Run Through? Did I see that right?
I did indeed. Yeah. I spent about 6 months, maybe less, doing some stuff over for Run Through. But unfortunately, a few of the elements of my life got a little busier and I had to step away from there. But it was so lovely to meet so many really passionate running people whilst doing that. And it was, so I can highly recommend Run Through if you're a runner, in terms of wanting to get out there and find your tribe. They do events all over the country.
Yeah, they do a lot. Yeah.
But I could highly recommend them to you as well if you want to. But again, I'm open to park runs. I just might not talk to you.
Absolutely fine. So where can people find you, Tom?
Over on Instagram at the moment. I'm moving away from Twitter. It's a bit horrible.
I came off that years ago. I was like, yeah.
I haven't got the heart to come away because I built up 35,000 followers on there, and I'm sort of hanging on by I'm no longer a verified account. I've stopped following loads of different other people. I'm just sort of hanging on until I get Instagram up a bit more.
So go and follow Tom then on Instagram. That's
Insta, Mr. Tom Campbell on Instagram. I post all my running stuff. I'll put on there. I'll put videos and stuff of me going out about running. If you're a wrestling fan as well, join us at Cultaholic Wrestling. We do wrestling videos and podcasts every single day from the past, the present, and we talk about the future of wrestling on there as well. It'd be lovely to find you there. Do come say hi. YouTube.com/Cultaholic.
Good. We'll put all the links in the description where you can find Tom as well. So go and give Tom some love. I think he's closing in not far off a big number on Instagram followers as well. So you're not
going for 10K, John.
Going for 10K is not far away. Let's.
I'll do a 10K when I hit 10K.
You've heard it here first. There you go. That means something in my world, as I always say. So we'll hold him to that one. So Tom, thank you very much for spending the time. Anything else from you today?
No, thank you. As I said at the very beginning, you're one of the reasons why I got my head back in the game.
Good.
And I, like many of your clients and many other good people that listen to your podcast, are very grateful to you, John. So thank you.
Sir. I appreciate that very much. And thank you for taking the time to me today. So thanks everyone for listening. As always, if you're new to the podcast, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcast from. That's Apple or Spotify. If you are a regular listener, please do drop me a review on Spotify. That really helps me as well. Or drop me a comment in there, or share this with your friends. So spread the word. That really helps me. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it's at 12 Months to Marathon. If you go and follow me over there for your daily content, tips and fun stuff. And if you go to the link in my bio, you can join my free running community for the over 35s, where we can take you away from the noise of social media and we can connect over there and share a bit of accountability and more fun and more running stuff. So I'd like to say thanks again to Tom for taking the time to talk to me today, and I'll speak to you all very soon indeed. Thank you, Tom.
Love you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.